We have a great webinar today with a very interesting topic and a very interesting expert. The topic is an international master worth the investment? Germans always ask, that's my experience, for how much is it? In my opinion, we should also look on the quality, of course. And today we have an expert, and I'm very proud and very welcome and honored to welcome the Dean of the Bocconi University in Milan, Professor Carlo Salvato. We just got to know each other 5 minutes ago. Professor Salvato is a full professor in the Department of Management and Technology. He is the Dean of the Graduate School at the Bocconi University, and he teaches family business. Family business is interesting for me since one of my PhD professors in Madrid was Luis Gomez Mejia, that he may know. But as the Dean of the Graduate School, he definitely can tell you if and under which circumstances an international master is worth the investment. Welcome, Professor Carlo Salvato.
Thank you very much, Thomas. It's such a great pleasure to be here with you tonight. And so choose everyone. So it's fabulous. And actually, thank you for the opportunity that you're giving us and my school in particular that I represent to provide our perspective on whether taking an international master is worth the investment. And by worth the investment, we mean not only the financial investment, which is obviously highly relevant, but the investment of time, the investment, the emotional and psychological investment, the investment also of trust. So of trusting you and your family, trusting a school, and trying to understand whether this trust is well deserved by the school. And more important, the most important investment that you're making is the investment of your future. The investment of this is obviously choosing a master is not the only step that is relevant in putting at stake your future. There are many others, luckily, but in terms of your professional future, it is probably one of the most vital, if not the most important, because it's the latest stage, usually before the job market. So therefore, our point of view at Bocconi, and it should be, and I know most other schools, is what can we do with our programs to help students envision their future with us, and therefore their career in the future with the most successful employers. And this means, first, you need to reflect with yourself and saying, what is it that I really want? What is that will make me happy in my life? So eventually, I don't know if many colleagues would agree with that, but business schools and schools in general, graduate schools in general, their job should be to make people happy, okay? Make candidates happy, because identifying my dream for my future, what is my vocation in the future, and finding a path to pursue this vocation and this dream, this is happiness, okay? So, and the key point of my short presentation is exactly this one. Try to identify an institution and a program that provide you this path towards happiness, towards fulfilling your dream. Your dream is having a successful career and becoming rich, fine. But there are other dimensions to happiness. So ideally, you should try to package all of them together and identify your path.
Wonderful introduction. Thank you so far. Just for the audience, Professor Carlo Salvato will now hold a little presentation that gives you more argument and more inspiration for your decision-making process. And afterwards, we have time for a Q&A. Okay?
Okay. So shall I share my screen?
Please.
Perfect. Let me do that. I will share the Microsoft PowerPoint. Hold on for a minute.
Yeah, we can see it.
Ah, that's perfect. Let me go in presentation mode. There we go.
Perfect.
So the title, you already know the title. Tips from Bocconi University. How did we decide with my colleagues, that I thank, to perform this presentation? Short, I promise. And I will open to Q&A. So this is not the table of contents. Don't worry. I don't have these many There's many points to discuss, but the idea is that, so this is the fundamental and the basic slide that I would like to present, which means, as I have just said, what shall you consider? What should you consider in your search? And there are a number of issues that you should consider together, simultaneously, if possible, in choosing a program. And in no particular order. Why not in a particular order? Because, as I said before, what you are looking for in a program depends on your goals for your own future, and these differ from candidate to candidate. So, as I said, someone wants to do have a prestigious job. Okay, then you will look for a prestigious school, for example. I'm interested in expanding my cultural and human relationships. Then you should look for a school that allows you to identify cultural experiences, to have cultural experiences. I would like to have an international career, regardless of how prestigious. Then look for a school and a program that allow you to do exactly that. So identify and have a highly successful international career and travel a lot. So fundamentally, the idea is that you should, these are some items that you should look for. So I will go quickly, because then in the next slides, I will touch upon most of these, each and every one of these, with the example, by taking the example of Bocconi University. So showing you, so where can you look for and identify these elements in the other schools? So this is how Bocconi, for example, is featuring these dimensions. Then it will be your job to do the same in other schools for other programs, and then compare and see whether they match your goals for the future. So, for example, rankings. How prestigious is the university, the school, the institution, and the program that you would like to attend. Second, international opportunities offered by the school. Third, the extent, the span, the outreach in terms of employer relations and placement figures, in case your focus is on finding a job and what type of job. Third, intellectual environment, because to some candidates, what really matters is to be intellectually engaged. So yes, career is important, traveling is important, prestige is important, but I would like to open up my mind, expand my mind frame. The cultural milieu has to do with what are the values of the school, for example, the human values, cultural values, professional values. So this is slightly more difficult to understand by browsing websites, but you can find these insights by visiting schools, talking to alumni and former students. Professional experience required, if any. Some programs require a previous professional experience, others do not. I'm assuming that most of you are interested in moving to a master degree without too much previous professional experience, but it might not be the case. So some of you may already have a substantial professional experience. The length of the program, because master programs span typically from 1 year to 2 years approximately. And there are these two basic options, 1 year or 2 year Master of Science. The extent of theory versus practice, because again, candidates differ in relation to what is my inclination towards practice versus vis-a-vis theory. And therefore, you should look into that part. A good balance. I want to do a Master of Science that is really strong in terms of background provided, or I prefer a master where maybe there is less theory, less solid background, but there's a lot of practice. The city, the country, the region, they also matter because it has a lot to do with the experience. I mean, it's 2 years over a long life, but it's 2 years. So it's not 2 days or 2 weeks. So where are you staying? But importantly, besides the pleasure of being in a nice city or in a nice area, the city, the country, the region matter a lot in terms of the cultural, intellectual experience and human experience that you will be able to live. So large multicultural city, small town in the countryside, north or south, island or mainland. So take that into consideration. So geography matters. Campus life, so different types of cultural initiatives and different types of activities that a school is offering, they matter a lot in relation to the type of experience and the level of knowledge that you can develop, type of relations. Last, I leave a last bullet point with a question mark and several dots. Here you have to fill in as many additional bullet points in relation to what is your dream, your view of your future. So identify other dimensions, which could be, for example, I don't know, the size of the school, the size of the program. And so there are several others. So do not just focus on a standard approach to selecting a master. Try to build your own personal approach with your own personal criteria, okay, for selection. If in front of me, I don't know how many participants we have approximately now, Thomas, I don't know, but let's say that you're 100. There should be 100 different lists of criteria, okay, more or less. Okay, now, so this was my main point, if you want, but I would like to go through the how you, for example, if you visit the Bocconi website, what are you going to find in relation to a description of these elements, these factors? So this will be just an example to guide you towards the job and the task that you should perform on the website or the visits to all the other schools that you're taking into consideration. So let's first move to, sorry, let me just check for a second. Okay, let me move for a second to the rankings. Mm-hmm. Okay, in terms of rankings, there are many different rankings, many institutions rank schools and programs. Here I provide two of the most important rankings that you should look for. The Financial Times, in particular for European, but not only European schools, ranking both programs and schools, and the QS ranking, which is also highly, let's say, a bit more, if you want, academic than Financial Times. And however, it is highly relevant. And I prompt you to check these two. There are several other rankings. Rankings measure the reputation of a school or a program or a department. You should take into consideration that, however, they are an imperfect measure because you know, there are some schools that maybe lag behind in one item that actually pushes them down in the ranking, while most of the others, the same school is very high. So if you have access to the details of why the ranking is high or low, for example, on which items, maybe there is a school that is very high, that's first, second, or third, because it's very strong on items that, for example, you're not interested in. If I'm telling you that, for example, the average salary after the program, this is a very relevant item in many rankings, program rankings. You may or may not be interested in that, but maybe in other items. Having said that, I give you a couple of examples in our two programs that are ranked on the Financial Times, are Master in Finance and in Management. They're ranked 13 and 20 in the world. The MBA at Bocconi University is ranked 6th in the world, and the school is ranked as the 4th best European Union business school. So therefore, you should do the same type of analysis with other schools, with other programs, compare and make your, not choice at this level, but your analysis. QS is ranking Bocconi University as 4th in Europe, 10th worldwide in social sciences and management. While in business and management, Bocconi is ranked 3rd in Europe and 6th worldwide. So as you can see, these rankings, they need to be carefully understood because, for example, social sciences and management is one ranking that they perform. Then they have a separate ranking in business and management. So therefore, you need Are you interested in a program in social sciences in general, for example, also economics, or you have a focus in business and management? In that case, you should look for the second ranking. So this is a first type of approach, providing you insights on the reputation of the school. Facts and figures. So these facts, for example, give you some ideas in relation to the size of the school, which is relevant, which is important, and how international the school is. In this case, for instance, Bocconi University has around 15,000 students. So, and this gives you an idea. So we prompt you to visit our campus if you want to walk around and have a sense, have a feeling, and you should do the same with other campuses. But if you don't have this opportunity, size matters because it will give you an idea whether you will be lost in a huge university, maybe something that you like to navigate in huge arenas, or if the school is very small, so very cozy, intimate, but not providing you a very broad span of, for example, interactions. So 15,000 for being economics, management, and social sciences is a large university. 15,000 for being a multi-purpose university is small. So typically universities that cover medicine, fine arts are much larger than that. So we are a medium-sized university. 100 nationalities represented on campus, 44% of international students in classes taught in English. Overall, 3,400 international students are enrolled at Bocconi University, and over 3,700 spend the period abroad. So these numbers refer to how international is the school, which is relevant, important, especially for those of you who are interested in international experience. So you should try to find these numbers across the different schools you're interested in and then compare them. Let's move on with the size of the school in terms of the programs. Our graduate school currently has 15 Master of Science programs that are taught in English. Mostly taught in English. There is one in Italian actually, but overall we have 15 programs. One of them is only in Italian, as I will show you, but overall it's 15. 35 double degrees with partner universities, 4,300 students in the graduate school overall. So again, the size is smaller than the 15,000 included the bachelor, the undergraduate programs. And 34% of international students in Master of Science classes. So again, here you have an idea of the size of the number of programs, number of double degrees, and how large is the school. So again, 4,300, I would say it's not a very large school, but it's not a tiny, small, intimate, cozy school where you will eventually know everyone. 4,300 means that you will have the opportunity to really meet people from many, many different cultures, nationalities, and cultural backgrounds. So back to remember the goal of, am I interested in expanding my intellectual and cultural mind frame? So again, the international network is it's relevant to identify the number of partnerships with international universities, international schools. For instance, to give you an idea, in our case, Bocconi has 280 partner universities, 35 joint and double degree programs, as I said before. Besides the sheer number of programs of international partnerships, you should be careful about checking. You should be checking also where are these. So with whom are these
Carlo, we cannot hear you right now. You are muted. Just for 10 seconds. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't click anything. Sorry, something happened. Sorry. Sorry. As I said, so check also the quality and the level and the prestige of the network, because some schools have a very broad and large network, but with, let's say, minor schools. We have been lucky because we were probably the first school starting exchange programs in the early 70s. And therefore, and this being considered as probably the most prestigious Italian school, foreign prestigious schools in other countries who wanted to have an exchange, a partner in Italy, they came to us. So we were lucky from this point of view. Having a reputation starting early allowed Bocconi University to be able to set up partnerships with some of the top schools in all geographical areas. So, for example, in Europe, we have as partners 7 of the top 10 business schools. In Asia, 9 of the top 10, based on the rankings that I showed you before. In North America, 10 of the 11 business schools, 15, we partner with 15 of the top 18 departments of economics, and 10 of the top 12 in Canada. We have partnerships in Oceania, Latin America, and Africa, but clearly, as you can see, the majority are Europe, North America, and Asia. So number and prestige of international partnerships. Then obviously, I would say that the key element is what programs are offered. So as I told you, there are 14 programs in English, 15 overall, 1 is in Italian only. I don't want to go into any detail because here, it's a job to go and look into this individual programs, what's in each program, the description, the structure, the courses, and the activities within each and every one. So it would take too long to go through and discuss this. Here they are divided into 4 blocks, as you can see. So the first block, top left, we have 5. These are all Master of Science programs, as I will show you later, 2-year master programs. The first block are 5 Master of Science programs in the management area. One is in international management, which includes the opportunity to enter in the CHAMPS program, which is ranked by the Financial Times. Second, we have a Master of Science in Management. Third, Master of Science in Marketing Management. And then one more specifically focused, it's management, but with a focus on arts, culture, media, and entertainment. And finally, the 5th one, management with a focus on innovation and technology. The second block, 3 programs in, let's say, accounting and finance. So we have the second one is the one ranked by Financial Times, finance. Then we have accounting, financial management, and control. And the third one is if you are interested in becoming a certified public accountant in Italy, so with the Italian legislation, you have this one, which is in Italian. The third block is, let's say, economic and political science, public management. So we have a program in economics, economic and social sciences, economics and management of government and international organizations, so how to manage governmental and public institutions. And the third one is politics and policy analysis, political science, if you want. A fourth block are, let's say, the most recent ones. Many of them are STEM. For example, data science and business analytics, cyber risk strategy and governance, transformative sustainability, and the latest one that will start for the first time in September this year, artificial intelligence. 2 of these are in joint degrees with the prestigious Politecnico di Milan, which is one of the best polytechnics in Europe or maybe in the world. So why this is relevant? So not because I intend to sell you these programs, but you need to understand when you have a map of the programs offered by a school, like this one on the slide, you see the strengths of the school, the focus of the school. So here we have management, accounting and finance, economics and political science, and STEM. So we don't have other issues for law. We don't have programs in law, for example, in engineering. So you see where the school is focused, and you also see whether the school has updated its programs. For example, in this case, you see that we could do better. Actually, I had a meeting this afternoon before this to add yet another STEM program in the future. But you see that this school has invested in advanced programs. Teaching methods are essential, again. So by browsing the websites of schools, visiting, talking to students, and reading the programs and the descriptions of programs, you have a sense of the direction that the school is taking. So Bocconi University students and programs are, how can I say, they are reputed for having a very strong, rigorous background, offering a very strong and rigorous background. So these students, when they hear this, they understand that it's hard work, okay? So this is the bottom line. So Bocconi students are considered as really, I don't want to say that they are the best, obviously, but in terms of how solid, how rigorous is the background of knowledge, actually, this is one of the strengths of the school. In fact, you see deep knowledge and competencies is the core when we present our teaching methods. Together with that, as these are master programs, which means close to the job market, we included, obviously, several seminars, courses, programs, and teaching approaches that incorporate in our teaching behavioral skills and soft skills, usual answer, teamwork, public speaking, and leadership, and this kind of issues. Critical thinking and humanities. So we have seminars in critical thinking. We have seminars, compulsory seminars in humanities. Quantitative competences and data analysis, these are spread throughout the single topics. Master of program structure, as I told you, Bocconi University is following the so-called Bologna approach. We have the 3-year bachelor's and the 2 years Master of Science. Why this choice? It's a strategic choice. So fundamentally, what we believe is that in 2 years, you really have the opportunity, as I said before, to give a strong and rigorous, solid background, plus the applications, plus the soft skills, humanities, and all the rest. 1 year, I'm not saying it's not possible, but although it's less likely that you can develop really a solid and rigorous background that will allow you, and that's the 2 years Master of Science have these characteristics, you develop a background that will allow you to navigate the innovations in your profession in the future. Okay, so this is the idea. Typically, in the first year, with compulsory courses, core courses, you develop the background that will allow you to navigate the future innovations in your profession. Then in the second year, you develop applications, specialization, electives, majors, free tracks, and so on. Then to foreign languages, internships, you should also look into these additional elements that a program can offer. For example, we have a compulsory internship, 2 foreign languages, enhancing experience activities, as I said, in the humanities, arts, and culture, and the final thesis, which enhances the rigor of your preparation, of your background. As I said, employer relations are also extremely relevant, because if a university does not have a strong network of employers, not only, again, size, but also quality of the employers, for a Master of Science, for a master program, that's a problem, because it's not a bachelor where 98% of the students continue with a master study. It is actually very, very important, because after a master, students want to go on the job market. So our employer relations are with 4,000 employers, which means that they're not only engaged as employers, like in a job fair, as the one that you see in the picture here, they are also systematically involved in activities in class. For example, by guest lectures, they are lecturers themselves, by providing cases, by providing internships, seminars. Okay, so the engagement of 4,000 employers is across the span of all the teaching activities, educational activities. 1,300 placement and internship offers in 2021 only. Now should be will be soon updated. Importantly, also check that in the different schools, 130,000 alumni worldwide. I visited the New York City chapter of Bocconi alumni last week. Why alumni are important and why are they in the employer relations? Because alumni of a school become managers in companies worldwide. So, and they are involved directly or indirectly in hiring, for example. So therefore, I'm not saying that alumni tend to hire only people coming from their schools, obviously, but clearly they are particularly inclined. And still, alumni are a network that may help you identify a target employer, okay? If not an employer itself, themselves, alumni can be a gate to identify employers. So look into the alumni network of the school that you are interested in reaching out to. And also check the opportunities to enter the job market that are offered by the school. So having employers, having alumni means very little if they're not engaged constantly. For example, as I said before, in class, in seminars, in internships, in activities such as job fairs. And we have several, both on campus at Bocconi with the Bocconi Jobs, abroad, Bocconi Jobs abroad, focused on specific industries, for example, investment banking career fair, and also online, such as recruiting dates, recruiting weeks, where students and job employers can interact. Again, as I said, it's not only a matter of quantity, but also quality. So these are data that typically are displayed at presentations like this one. I don't know to what extent these are displayed also on websites, but ideally you should try to find who are the top employers. So this is the list of the employers who hire most of our students. So, I mean, we don't want to brag about the names, but as you can see, it goes from Accenture, Bain & Company, BNP Paribas, Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, McKinsey, United Nations, Vodafone. So again, and also look into the industries, because you might be interested in some industries. For instance, here you will find some, you say Prada, for example, and L'Oreal, Kering, Luxottica, LVMH. Clearly, being in Milan, Bocconi attracts many employers in the fashion and luxury industry, together with many others. So ideally, if you can find this list of top employers, this is extremely valuable to make your choice. Placement numbers, if displayed by the school, they are very, very important. Again, maybe your target is not only finding a job, you want to have an interesting cultural experience, intellectual engagement, having fun, but this matters a lot. So these are our data for the Master of Science programs. About 84% of our students are employed the day they receive the degree, so they already work. Or 84%, and 1 year after graduation, about 97%, which means that there is 3% who want to do something else in their life, but 97% or cannot find a job, but 97% are employed 1 year after graduation. Of these, 33.8 work abroad 1 year after graduation. So that's important also. How likely is it to find a job outside of the country where I received my degree, or employers target students, but then they hire them in the same country. That's very important. Here, 1 out of 3 of our students, Italian or not Italian, they find jobs abroad. And the average time needed for job placement, this is seldom displayed by schools, is 24 days. Successful alumni, again, as I said, ideally, if you can find someone, I don't know, probably don't stalk these students on LinkedIn, please. But if you can find someone, I hope we ask permission to talk with and ask them about their experience at Bocconi, but importantly, having just a view of who they are. So knowing that there are alumni, understanding their profile will be relevant. Here, this is just to show you that there are alumni who come from your geographical area and or and or ended up in your geographical area. For example, we have Irene, corporate senior manager in the group strategy unit at Henkel in Düsseldorf. Carl, CEO and founder, so this is an entrepreneur, Monaco DAX in Munich. Anna Chiara Tortorella, as you can hear, is probably not fully German, but ended up becoming a senior director of international markets at Delivery Hero in Berlin. Francesco Cometa, again, not a German, probably, senior supervisor of European Central Bank in Frankfurt. Livia, senior financial market expert at European Central Bank in Frankfurt. Henry, finance and expansion manager and special operations in Colonia Technologies, Frankfurt. Then again, Michele at ING Frankfurt, Constanze, Deloitte, Munich, and Carlotta, again, another Italian, ended up in Aurora Energy Research Ltd in Berlin. Here, we are very proud of our programs in finance, but in particular on their ability to attract women, which is typically, they are typically underrepresented in finance. But we have several. We would like to have many more. They still are less represented than men. And happy International Women's Day, by the way, for today. And women in finance. So here we have 9 examples of women from different geographies, not ending up in Germany or in German areas, however, who had a career, did their degree in finance, and then ended up with a career in finance. Finally, this is my final slide. Schools offer several other opportunities to learn about their offer. And here, I prompt you to try to identify these opportunities offered by different schools to learn more. For instance, we have campus visits. Some are virtual, some in person. You can book a visit in the campus. There is one every week or second week. You can book, and it's like a guided tour, but they also talk about, the programs. You can book a one-to-one visit. You will find someone guiding you around. Or if you have more time to spend, to really dig deeper into the school, summer schools, either online or on campus, graduate master classes are excellent opportunities here and in other schools to learn more and know more, have really a deep dive in the school and having an experience to really understand how is it to live and spend time and energy in school. So that's about it. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will open up for Q&A if you have questions or comments. How are we doing that, Thomas?
First of all, thank you very much for your presentation and for the insightful tips for choosing a master. We have 2 questions already. Hunter asked for how important are grades to get admitted to an international master?
So thank you. I have colleagues who can answer more specifically this question, but it depends from school to school. At Bocconi University, they are relevant and they are a significant, about 50% part of the let's say, of the admission, together with usually with tests. And then I actually prompt my colleagues. Sorry, I can stop my sharing so that I can see if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course.
And if there is any of my colleagues who would like to jump in relation to I see Veronica probably, yes. Veronica, if you want to jump in providing this. So the question here was related to all masters, and I would say that approximately on average is 40 to 50%. Some schools prefer to give a greater weight to tests such as GMAT, because a test like GMAT is more standardized, and Bocconi as well gives a slight, let's say, advantage because it's more standardized. The GPA, the average they should be comparable across schools, but with a little bit more variance. Veronica.
One suggestion I would like to give to possible candidates is that when filling out the application, you can add up to 5 Master of Science programs that you are interested in. If you have a look at the specific study plan, you will find out that many have similar majors, or you can approach a topic from a different viewpoint. So don't limit your choices also in terms of number of programs and number of places you compete for. It's a competition, but it can be worth it.
Thank you, Veronica. I forgot to say that. And it's a great advice. And so in each school, if it's possible, like at Bocconi, 5 choices. There is an A choice, but also add a B, C, D choice. Same with the universities. You may have your own target. This is the school where I really want to go. That's my top plan. Always have a B plan. And luckily, there are several words in the letters in the alphabet. Okay, so keep going so that you're sure that you can find a master for you. Maybe it's not your dream master, but remember, in your life, you make your future with your own hands. You build it with your own hands. If it's not your dream school, okay, you will make the best out of the next one, the B school, the C school, your third one. So you will make your own future with your hands.
Manuel Carrier asks, what are the biggest benefits of doing your master's abroad? What are the biggest benefits of doing your master's abroad?
This is a question that we always receive from Italian students, and we do not have a hard time answering. So the big benefits is that, especially if you had an undergraduate degree in your country, maybe with an exchange program, but even with an exchange program, it's like a focus on your country, Italy, Germany, Austria, for example. It's not much a matter of knowledge, because programs are quite similar across countries, but of your mind frame. So mind frame changes radically when you are able to spend an entire program to follow an entire program abroad. And this is something that employers value a lot. And so therefore, we are not worried about answering this question, and we give the same answer to Italian students for 2 reasons. First, because many of them did their bachelor here with us, so they have already been clients. Second, because we believe that this is true. So it's highly valuable because it opens up your mind, and it gives your employers let's say the trust that you can survive in different environments, that you open up your mind, that you will be able to face different situations. So this is very important. Third, because our programs at Bocconi, they also have many opportunities to live abroad. We have several double degrees, for example. So some of our students, we say it's very important. So take one of our programs and do a double degree. But ideally, actually, also taking 2 years abroad is something many of our bachelor students increasingly do. And we welcome them to do that, same as we welcome foreign students coming to us.
Here is a question maybe more for Veronica. Is the GMAT required for master application, and how many points are needed to be accepted? The GMAT is quite popular among MBA programs, but among masters, for graduates without work experience, I think it's an emerging trend. So I understand Sarah's question. Is the GMAT required, and how many points are needed to become accepted?
Veronica.
So first of all, GMAT or GRE are often for many business schools a way to compare students coming from different backgrounds, countries, school or university systems. It's of course, as Professor Salvato said before, not necessarily all what we look for and all what we evaluate students on. For sure, having a good GMAT score is a good, let's say, first passport to go on.
Can you define a good GMAT score?
This is the 100,000 euros question.
Well, give us some kind of confidence.
So let's say that I think that on our website, in order to be eligible for evaluation, students need at least 500 or something like that. In my personal opinion, I would consider a student a bit more eligible for a good evaluation over 600. Then for merit scholarship, maybe I leave the floor to Professor Salvato, who always also oversees the committee about that.
No, merit scholarship is very often above 700, 650, 700. Merit scholarship means that regardless of your family income, if you have this GPA and this GMAT and you are top of our list, you receive a full scholarship, full tuition scholarship. And these are the top students that we have. And the GMATs are sometimes really above 650 and 700. However, what Veronica has just said is that it depends also on the program that you select, because obviously our top programs, which are those ranked by the Financial Times, International Management and Finance, for example, they obviously require a much higher GMAT than the others. Therefore, the suggestion for selecting more than one choice. However, unless you identify a school which is really, that school is really one of your goals for the future, I want to study in that school, unless this is the case, and it should not be, honestly, so I want to do that school, whatever I study there, I prompt you to choose those programs that you really are interested in. So, I mean, so if you want to do finance, you do not add a second or third that you are not interested in, because then if you are accepted, you have to take it, okay? And then, so in that case, I would do finance in another school, maybe in an easier school, or in a school where, given the different combination of my GPA, my GMAT, and the other candidates who applied, I am enrolled.
All right.
So not focus much on the school, more on the program. That's the bottom line.
Since both of you already mentioned that you can apply to more than one program at the same time, Leon asked if the application fee multiplies as well, or if you only pay one application fee, no matter how many programs you apply.
No, you pay one and you indicate 5, up to 5.
Right. Okay. Another question regarding application process is about the SEMS program. And I know that all these SEMS partner schools, they have very different application processes. So Sarah asked here, how does the application for the SEMS within the Master in International Management works?
Veronica.
Yes, sure. So it's a separate application compared to the application to the regular international management program, but consider that it's one of the 5 choices. So one can be international management. And if you look at the website, you will see that many of the double degree partner schools are the same of the CHEMS programs. Probably they're just missing the etiquette. On the other hand, the CHEMS is the second choice, and there is an additional video presentation and an additional personal statement. In general, what I could suggest about personal statement for all programs is show us you did your homeworks, research about the school, the program directors, his or her research interests, how you would fit in a specific environment here, what are your main really internal reasons why you would like to study with us, and how we can help you, achieve the happiness that Professor Salvato was mentioning at the beginning.
Yes, that's a very good point. In preparation for submission of your application, it is very important that when the school reads your package, they should say, wow, this guy, he or he really studied us and identified some key distinctive elements of our school and how they match his profile. So this is who am I and what I want to accomplish. This is you, the school and the program that I selected, and I see a perfect fit. And this should not be like, I would like to live in Milan, it's a modern city, Bocconi is very prestigious. That applies to anyone. And I wouldn't say that schools say, okay, we already know that, okay, because we try to be humble. But the idea is that, okay, but how is it right for you? So for example, some specific feature of the program that match your interests and that combined with what you have already done in your previous career, high school, bachelor, internship, exchange, combined with the specific feature of this program, this would really make me flourish. So this is the goal of your letters, your video interviews, your video presentations, and any other personal, the CV that you write. So try to highlight this when you address the school.
It's a little bit like you apply for a company, right? For an employer, you get the question, why did you choose us?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's exactly the same. Or just for a joke, applying for a boyfriend or girlfriend. Oh, you're beautiful, and that's not enough. That's not enough. So you need to really. Where's the match here? So the idea is that employer, yes, you're a famous company, you're very large, you're growing, okay, but that would apply to anyone. So how do I match? How do we click, the two of us?
Yeah, Joshua, you asked a question. Thank you very much for your presentation. In your point of view, what are the most important characteristics and experiences you should have to get admitted to a renowned master program? I think we tackled on that already. One is that specific commitment that you can really demonstrate why this school should be your target school. And Carlo and Veronica also gave you some cues regarding the formal criteria. So I would say that question should be answered. If it's not answered, please, can you repeat it a bit more specifically, Joshua, if that's fine with you? So I move to the next question. Is it possible to get accepted to a prestigious program, for example, at Bocconi, but also somewhere else, even if you have a bachelor from a non-prestigious university? I don't know how we can define non-prestigious, let's say not ranked or something like that.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely, yes.
That we are not uninterested. We are uninterested in. So we look for the GPA, we look for the GMAT, GRE, we look for the CV, the letters. That's it. So
statements,
we want to see.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And no, we don't look at the rank. So you should look at how prestigious the school is if you are interested in that dimension. We don't.
Okay. Here's a very interesting question.
If I can add something, the university is more and more committed to being diverse and inclusive, but also for the richness of the environment each day in class, the group activities, the team working, and it's something that I know Professor Salvato knows very well, that we are very, very into committed in.
Absolutely. It's a very inclusive, diverse school, and we're actually looking for more of that. For example, we're trying to connect with the universities and countries in the global south, for example, trying to search for students in these areas where no one knows even the name of the program, never heard of the names of the schools, but we would really like to attract students from these areas, from Africa, South America.
Cultural backgrounds. Now here's a question regarding more what happens to your graduates afterwards. You already presented us some very interesting career positions of women, of alumni. Here's a question from Lucas. How many students, maybe in percent, if possible, stay in Italy after graduation? I think that's interesting. If I do a master's degree at Bocconi in Milan as a German, how many of of international students stay there, also of Italian students, and how many go abroad from the perspective of Italy?
Yes, with the data I showed before showed like about a 34% of our graduates go abroad, which means that about 2/3 stay in Italy. Mm-hmm. Many of these are obviously Italian. Mm-hmm. Some of these are international students who end up working in companies in Italy. If you look at the list of our employers, of our top employers, for example, you will see that probably with no exception, they are international companies. So ending up working in Italy does not mean that you will not have an international career, because these companies, such as, you've seen the list of the top employers, they are international companies. So you will work on international projects in Italy, or they will send you abroad. And I'm talking about, for example, the consultancies, the investment banks. And this should apply to all other countries. So if you see that a school in the country that you're targeting employs their students mostly in the country, 2/3 about, like Bocconi, look at who are the employers, and also the city where the school is located. Because being located, like a top employer in Milan is always a global company, and therefore you will have a global career. However, many international students who come to our school find a job in an Italian company and stay in Italy. So if you're interested.
I received one question that I find very interesting before the webinar. We always have some kind of a survey and we ask the students to give us questions before it starts. And this question is, maybe it's good at the end now to summarize everything. What are the common mistakes preventing students from being accepted? So what are the don'ts, the things that you should not do, those key aspects that will kick you out in the process?
So I'll give one answer and then I let Veronica provide some more details. My answer is more, let's say, how can I say, related to what I said at the beginning. So let's say that if you are unfit for a career, you should not try to fit yourself in that career. Because regardless of what you can do in, polishing and rewriting your CV, and regardless of how you will try to push on your GPA and your GMAT, there is something in not being fit and having the wrong dream, if you want, that eventually ends up in not being enrolled. I know that this is very vague, extremely vague, because no, but if I push, or increase my GPA, work hard on my GMAT, but there is still something, some chemistry that is missing. So this is so you should try to think back to the beginning. So you said it's a good way to end and to connect with what I say at the beginning. Think about, what do I really want to do in my life? What is going to make me happy? How can I make a difference in the world that will make myself feeling as I'm fulfilled as a human being, as a person? Look for that, and chances are that you'll be more likely to be enrolled. Rather than, what is the dream career of the average student now? Oh, finance, in investment banking. Okay, am I interested? I don't know, but it's prestigious. I will make a lot of money. Okay, let's work hard on my GPA, GMAT, not enrolled. Sorry, it's a little vague, but maybe.
No, I think it's a very important point. It touches the area of motivation.
Motivation, exactly. Because motivation helps you work hard on your GPA, your GMAT, and your CV and your letters.
Veronica, do you want to add something to that point?
I don't want to be a bit more harder with the students, but I've seen many applications. My suggestion would be also not to be arrogant. You never know who you're competing with. And also to find really your unique selling point, in a way, your unique characteristic that make you stand out compared to the rest of the students.
All right. Here's a very last question from Aishwin. Is there a possibility to skip the GMAT if you apply for the Master in Finance?
Not really.
No.
No.
If you're applying for the Master in Finance, no. Actually, it's probably the most relevant item. I mean, we use the GMAT with some mathematical algorithms, but in finance, as in the others, it is still essential. Actually, it matters a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
It matters like in the others.
Yeah. Thank you very much. For all the others and for other questions, let me just inform you that the Bocconi University attends our Master Days, Business and Economics. We have 5 Master Days this year. We are in Munich and Frankfurt now. We have DACH means Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, online event in April. And we have Master Days always focusing on management and economics in fall as well, in Cologne and in Stuttgart. So Bocconi will be there, and you can join either the physical events or the online events. This is my opportunity to thank Professor Carlo Salvato for his time, for his valuable knowledge and his advices, and to Veronica for organizing together with me everything. Thank you very much. Mille grazie.
Thank you. Vielen Dank to you and for your patience to listening to me. And thank you.
It was a pleasure.
for
It was a
inviting
pleasure.
us.
And as everyone just sees on the chat, Monica has just posted an email address, graduate.services@unibocconi.it. In case you have any questions, she will read it. And I guess there are some more concrete questions, and you are very welcome to contact her. Thank you very much. I will close this webinar now, and I will cross my fingers tonight for Bayern Munich, but that's a separate story. Have a great evening.
Luck to everyone.
Thank you
Good
very
luck
much.
to everyone.
Buonasera, arrivederci.
Buonasera.
Ciao.